Hi there, my name's Paulie and welcome to this video. In this video I'm going to do a little pedal board update. I was looking on YouTube this morning and realised it's over 2 years since I've done a pedal board video. So I figured today's as good a day as any to do a little recap. Now I actually gig with this pedal board and I perform in a covers band. So it's important to have a palette of a few different sounds that you can kind of emulate or get close to the sound of the original recording. Also, I think it's important to have a good range of sounds when you're playing in a band, because if you play for like 3 or 4 hours, changing the sound is important on occasions, because if a listener is listening to that one sound all the time at that one volume, it can get pretty grating on the ears, and it can actually, people's ears will fatigue. So being able to change that sound around will give their ears a bit of a rest in a sense. And, it keeps the interest up. So let's have a look in the board and see what we've got. So anybody who's seen the other videos will realise it looks kind of similar, but there are a few things that aren't there anymore, and there's a few things that have been replaced. So let's look at the signal path, and I'll go through things one step at a time. Okay, so the very first thing in the chain is this Fender Deluxe Strat. This is the guitar I use most of the time. This one's an ash body. It's actually a parts caster, believe it or not. So yeah, and we've got 2 Germanium Cobalt Fender SCN pickups and a Damasio DP161 in the bridge. Now generally when I'm playing clean sounds, I will be on either the neck pickup on its own or the middle and neck pickup in combination, occasionally just the middle, and very occasionally just both the middle and bridge pickup, which has a kind of a twang to it. I rarely play just the bridge pickup clean. It just seems to be too strong in the mids. It's great for distortion though, like for rock sort of sounds. Okay, so after the guitar, the very first thing in the chain is the fuzz pedal. This is a DIY fuzz pedal. It uses germanium transistors, and let's hear it. It actually sounds better when you roll the tone back on the guitar. It kind of gets a more brittly sound. That's with the tone back. It's with the tone up. So you get the idea of that. Next we've got the Wah Wah pedal. After the Wah Wah pedal, things get kind of complicated. It goes to this box here. Now this box has 2 switches on it. One's for the tuner, and it actually bypasses the signal path and goes straight to the tuner over here. Now we're engaged again. Now from there it splits into 2 pathways. One is a clean channel, which is this section here, and the other one is a dirty channel, which is this section here. On the clean channel, which sounds like this, we go into the Maxon overdrive, then the compression sustainer, then our 31 band graphic equalizer, then back to the clean, back to the AB switch, sorry. Now I've found that I've tried to get this sound that I have using things like, you know, smaller graphics pedals and things like that, and I just cannot get the same kind of sound, the same clarity that I get with the 31 band graphic. So, you know, the 31 band graphic's it. I'm stuck with it. I love that sound as far as clean sounds are concerned, and that's about it. So that's the clean sound on its own. Then we can put the OD808 in there. And you can get all of those kind of bluesier sounds. And yeah, it's kind of a bit more overdrivey. With the compression sustainer off, so this is just the graphic pedal and the reverb and the chorus from the Midi Verb. And that's the difference there. Very minimal actually between having the compression sustainer on or off. So that's the clean channel. Now we flick over to the dirty channel. And with the dirty channel there's actually 4 things in the line. It comes from the switch here to the blues driver, which I use the blues driver as a kind of a booster, or similar to what you would use an overdrive pedal to actually push the amp or the preamp harder. And then from there it goes to this guy here, and this is a tube based distortion pedal. It's got 2 12AX7s in it, and it's very similar to the front end of an old Marshall amp. Then from there it goes back to the graphic equalizer here, which I use this to switch between a kind of a rounder, more vintage kind of tube sound and a more modern scooped out sound, and this gives me that scooped out sound, and I'll demonstrate that in a moment. And then I've got the DD3 in there, so that when I am coming up to a lead break and I'm actually on the clean channel, I can turn the delay on like 30 seconds or even a minute before I'm ready to do the solo, and then all I have to do is hit this switch here and everything turns on that I need to turn on, and away I go. When I'm done, I just hit that switch there again and I can go back to my clean rhythm sound without the delay. So let's hear it all in action. So we're on the neck pickup again. Now we can put the blues driver in. We can go to the bridge pickup. So you can hear the difference there. And then we can get more of a vintage sound. So it's just a little darker. And then we can do the delay thing too. We do with a tad more of that. So I can literally be turn the delay on, but I'm still not using it, just ready for the dirty channel. And then you click back, we're back to normal. So another thing I've done, I've deliberately put the blues driver and the delay next to each other and in the front row. The reason why is, say you're playing like some sort of a rhythm part and you want to step it up somewhat. What you can do is you can chop and change, you can put the delay, you can pick and choose. I mean, you could put the delay in on its own, or you can just sort of boost up your signal somewhat, or you can do both just by having them in the front row. I'll go to the neck pickup and we'll clean things back up, and we'll get to the back end of the pedal board, or the left hand side here. We've got the tremolo. And it just crops up in songs from time to time. It may be just a chord that you let ring underneath the vocal, something like that, and it comes in handy from time to time just to add a different texture. And I've replaced my DD7 with this tape echo. I just find that yeah, I just like the sound of it. It kind of does this thing where it makes the repeat sound lo-fi in the way that it actually cuts the bottom and top end off. So you don't just end up with you know, the top end being rolled off and the sound getting kind of muddy. It kind of, the sound becomes MIDI as the repeats go on. So yeah, that's the Wampler tape echo. Then we move up to the RV3, and this is one of my favourite reverb pedals. I've had this thing for a very long time. I'd imagine it'd have to be close to probably more than 15 years. So that's without it. And yeah, I have it on plate reverb, which I believe is mode 11, and I have the tone all the way up because I don't want a dark, thick reverb. I want it light and airy, so it sort of goes over or around my sound, my dry sound. And I just have the time set roughly on about 12 o'clock. The direct signal or direct effects balance is around at about around 8 o'clock. I find that it's, if you have it on 12, it's like way too much. Also, that pedal's capable of delay, and early on I actually used it for that, although it was a bit of a pain in the neck having to chop and change all the time. So what I used to have was a second AB pedal, so I'd hit this from the clean to the dirty, and then that'd engage this second dirty AB switch, which would be like my rhythm and lead. But I've replaced that rhythm lead thing just basically by having the blues driver actually drive the front of the preamp or of the distortion pedal a little harder. That's one of the main differences. The other one is I now have a pedal power supply running my pedals. I've found that I've had no trouble with this thing, and it was really cheap. It was like $50 on eBay, and I have never had an issue. It's been on there be close to a year now, and have never had a single failure out of it at all. And I do have a spare just in case I do have a problem with it. So yeah, the only other thing I haven't gone to on the pedal board is the loop station, which I'll cover in a few minutes. And we'll talk about the Midi Verb next. So here's the Midi Verb, and it's actually in the rack case with the power amp. This is a power amp. It's just a cheap Digitech thing. It was only a couple of $100, and it seems to do the job just fine. I've been running it now for probably I'll be close to 2.5 years, I suppose. And here's the Midi Verb too. So basically I use the output on the Midi Verb as my volume control. I could just as easily use these attenuators on the power amp, but I find that this one's easier. I have it on patch 61, which is a stereo chorus, and I have the mix set on 12 o'clock. So here's the amplifier I use. It's just a solid state stereo power amplifier. It's a PA amp, and it doesn't colour the sound, it doesn't add texture to the sound, so I've got no tone controls here at all. It's not going to give me distortion, it's not going to do anything except amplify the signal. So all of the colour that I add to my sound, the EQs and everything else, need to come from the Midi Verb and the pedal board. Okay, so on the output of the RV3 it actually splits off into two directions, because the RV3 has stereo output. One output goes to the loop station and then off through to the Midi Verb. The other one comes straight out and goes to the Midi Verb. So in essence I can get the sound from the loop station only on one channel and only in one speaker, where my lead sound actually goes over both speakers. Okay, so let's hear what that sounds like. enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it. Please leave any questions that you have in the comments section below. If you want to leave a comment, don't hesitate to do that. I hope you have a good day. I'll catch you later. Bye.